Welcome back into the ASUG News Studio. My name is Tom Whaley. I'm one of the co-hosts here at SBOUC 2013. We are live on the show floor here, and we're talking to, they may work for SAP, but they're kind of ASUG. I mean, they're really ASUG. We're like family.
Friends of the program.
Yes, absolutely. So welcome back in. You've been here before. Kristen Scheffler, welcome back in.
Thank you very much,
Chris
Tom.
Vozella, thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
So before we get started, for those people who possibly don't know who you are and what you do, let's talk just about what you do for SAP, and then we'll dive into some of the cool things that are happening and talk some support and maintenance.
Great.
Kristen, do you want to go
Sounds
first?
Good. Sure. So I'm Kristen Scheffler. I work for SAP Product Support, and I handle the communications for product support now. So we're working on that, and you might have heard a little bit about the Webby Java get-on thing going on.
Java game.
Yeah. So we had a little bit to do with getting that information out.
But it got out. I mean, it's not like this was not 4 years ago. Sorry to jump off topics before we get Chris, but like
absolutely.
Okay.
There was nothing like being in that influencer summit. There was an influencer summit meeting yesterday talking, and that went down nothing like it would have 3 or 4 years ago.
Absolutely, which is great, I think, and it was good feedback to hear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was almost a non-issue. Everyone was aware. Whoops. Pardon me, technical difficulties.
That's all right.
I didn't crimp it well enough. There we go. But yeah, everyone knew about it, so a non-issue to a certain point.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And Chris, what do you do for SAP?
So when I'm not having technical problems, I'm a director in SAP Americas product support as well.
Okay.
I work for the message solving organization, so the good folks who work on making sure our customers are happy and we get our stuff working when it breaks.
Okay. Now, as I said, you're both very familiar, very integral to the ASUG mission here. Why do you get involved with ASUG so much? Kristen, maybe we'll start with you. What do you, I mean, you give up time, you're a part of all these meetings.
And as do the volunteers, right? So, I mean, it's one hand and the other. We have to go about it that way. And I think what has been fantastic for us the past couple of years is that there's really been that partnership. So it's not just one group reaching out to the other group and saying, we need to do this or we need to do this. It's, hey, let's come to a consensus together. We're in this together. We are in this partnership to make things work for the community, for the larger SAP community. And ASUG's a great platform for us to be able to do that with. So we've built some amazing friendships along the way as well.
Yep.
So
you're
I'm
always here at all the events.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be a part of this.
But
really
you can also, it seems like, due to those relationships, that problems, challenges come up, can be weathered much easier now.
And I would say that's an affirmative. When it comes down to family, essentially what we have here. I mean, it's the ASUG SAP ecosystem with our customers and partners really is about that family scenario. And the more we have that relationship, the better we can weather any situation or any storm.
Right.
So it's, when dealing with software, as we heard today in the keynote, you always deal with bugs. You deal with problems, you deal with successes, you deal with implementations. So the more you can do to make sure that that process is smoothed over, and that's where the relationships come in. And it is frankly why we do it. So we enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad you do. So one of the key things that you're working on is getting the word out about support and what people get. Because, frankly, not enough people, I think, take advantage of it. Or when they do, it's at the worst possible time. So they really... So, Kristen, from your point of view, what would you, if you had the ear of every ASUG member now, what would you tell them about support and what they really need to know?
Well, we do have the ear of every ASUG member right now, don't we?
Of course, just beaming into their rooms and on their phones everywhere.
I would say from a support standpoint, right, our programs and services that we offer, we're doing this from a proactive standpoint. So much of support is reactive. That's what it comes down to. We'll get the phone call when something breaks. The proactive standpoint of it from a services perspective is checking in to see how things are working before you actually implement them. Is this going to work? Let's see what best practices we have that we can maybe help you to instill in your landscape so you don't have those problems when you do go down the road, and you maybe won't have so many reactive support issues.
Do you have success stories? Like, can you give me an example of where that proactiveness helped someone solve a problem before it got a problem? I mean, do you have a recent one you can think of off the top of your head? I hate to put you on the spot, but...
No. I would say from an upgrade standpoint, I said we have quite a few upgrade services that we offer, and we have had customers who have gone from the 3.1 to 4.0 and have gone through these upgrade services to check and see beforehand, okay, what do I need to have installed on my landscape to make this work? And we found that the services have helped them significantly in identifying issues and root cause problems before they're actually going to happen. So absolutely. Whether or not we can actually mention those customers' names right here and now, not so much, but we're working on that.
Yeah. Well, we specifically had a banking example within the last couple of weeks where we did a proactive service for enterprise support, specifically a BI4 going live assessment, which is a remote health check, which is complementary to any enterprise support customer of SAP. And that actually identified 6 different things for their BI upgrade that they needed to look at prior to going live.
Okay.
Now, some of these were warnings, just things to check. Some were things that we felt were absolutely critical in order for the go live. But it's a free service. Every customer can get
Why
them.
not take advantage?
Right.
Take advantage of it. It's a data point. It's very little effort, and you get good results.
Do you feel like doctors sometimes, encouraging, eat your vegetables, get 8 hours of sleep?
Yes.
Don't
Feel
eat your
like that?
gluten.
Don't eat gluten.
Don't eat
there
gluten.
you go.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you upgrade, talk to us beforehand.
Yeah.
Talk to us before. We
Let's
have
talk
all
about
of
it.
these services that are available. Take advantage of them. If you don't know how to take advantage of them, call our customer service team. They'll help you navigate to exactly where you need to go to get in touch with somebody. That's what we're here for. We're trying to just get that education out there because it really is a huge help.
Yeah. There's no downside to more dialogue.
Great. So there's a big, obvious face-to-face personal feedback loop that happens at these types of events. But outside of that, maybe customers would be like, where does my feedback go? What happens to my feedback? Can you tell us what actually does happen with their feedback, or what are the different types of feedback that you
Absolutely.
receive?
So we have various mechanisms of feedback, right?
Yep. Lots of them. Yep.
The good part of it is that we actually have it all comes to one place now, whereas before it was you close a message, you get a survey.
Okay.
It went to this team. You have feedback about the support portal. It goes to this team. It all is now funneled into one area, which the customer experience team, which is part of the team that I am on, we get all of that, which is great. So any piece of feedback, SAP support sees. What we do with it from a positive call closure survey, that's when you close a message. That information is sent directly to our feedback manager. We analyze it. We look for trending. We bring that back to the support organization and say, hey, listen, here's some areas that we might be able to influence some change for a positive way. Here's what our customers are saying. So all of that feedback is being heard, and we are doing stuff with it. I mean, from an internal perspective, it's been great to see our support teams really kind of grasping on. And kind of a side note, we heard yesterday was one of our customers actually said, hey, listen, I love it when support gives me a call. And that was a big piece of feedback that we had heard over and over again. Why are you talking to me through the message? Why can't you just pick up the phone?
Pick up the
Right.
phone.
And we actually heard that from a customer. It's great. We're getting phone calls. We love it. So that was kind of a nice positive feedback for us to hear.
Yeah, it was definitely a good thing too, because it kind of reflects some of the internal programs we have, like the call factor program, which is to get engineers on the phone and not always utilize the CRM. The CRM is good, it's effective, it's that record keeping, but from an action standpoint, people want to talk. And
Right.
if you can't solve something in the first 2 or 3 instances, get on the phone, talk about it, figure out how you can knock it out and where to take it, rather than just constantly doing a little bit of the old ping pong back and forth.
Right.
So.
What's your biggest challenge going forward, and how are you, with each of your respective groups, and how are you tackling that challenge and going forward?
Communication for us.
And for us as well.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, communication specifically? All the various types? I mean, in general, or what type?
I would say for this kind of event, at least for us, I mean, it was the Influence Council, which was great yesterday. What came out of that from a support and maintenance perspective, number one on the list was
How do we communicate?
how do we communicate about these support programs and services to get more customers aware of what's going on and how they can benefit and how they can utilize. And that's something that we're continuously working on and struggling with, because you come to these events, you go to the chapter meetings, and you try to share this information, and a lot of times it feels like it's the first time people are hearing about it. Right?
Yeah.
So how do we get that information out to a larger spectrum of people? That is the question that we're looking to address.
Yep. As well as the aspect of unifying the messaging, making sure that we keep a consistent message from all venues within SAP to make sure that we are cohesive in terms of how we align that the message so that you're taking advantage of not only the proactive upfront services, but how to access support and how to get that escalation support when it really requires it.
Right.
Making sure it all kind of fits together from a sales, support, and field standpoint to help our customers, because at the end, that's what we're here for.
Right, and that's what they want. They just want to feel responded to.
Quick, painless resolution.
Right.
You got it.
All right, so last question, then I'll let you both go. So it's a question for each. I'm going to have you first, because
Okay.
Kristen's having. What's the one thing you'll
That'll
take?
do.
What's the one thing? I mix it up a little bit. What's
Exactly.
the one thing you'll take away from your experience over the years being with the Influence Council and working with the strategic SIG about service and support?
Really, the main thing, and that was really evident yesterday in the Influence Council, and I didn't get a chance to participate several years ago when SAP was outside in the hallway
The locked
waiting
doors?
for our
Let
fate.
us in.
But even in the time, the last couple of years that I've been involved, seeing how the relationship has improved, how it's matured, if you will, and the fact that it's collaborative now. You know, it is that point where we can accept feedback and accept critical feedback, as well as give feedback in terms of, okay, here's how we're doing things, here's why it's structured like this. It may not have worked in this case, but here's kind of the methodology behind it.
Yep.
And there's a healthy dialogue in terms of how we can make it better. And that for me is really that one takeaway where that has improved so much, where it's a healthy dialogue now as opposed to just the finger pointing exercise of I'm not getting what I need or we're not getting what we need.
Right.
And now it's at least how do we make it better for everybody. And that to me is kind of the big takeaway, especially from this year and last year's. We've come so far in terms of that. It's light years ahead.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you took it right from my mouth. Thank you. Just to add to that, though, honestly, I mean, we're going forward. I think yesterday's focus seemed to be almost kind of like a graduation type of ceremony in a way where, hey, you guys started off here, and now you're here, and now we feel that you have the necessary resources and connections in place to be able to do this moving forward as a team, meaning ASUG and SAP. So we don't need to necessarily babysit anymore and handhold you through this. You have those necessary things in place to be able to move forward on your own. And it's been a phenomenal journey, and I can't wait to see where we go.
I think one of the other amazing things to me was that it was talked about how some of these things that happen in the specific, business objects has actually had an effect on SAP as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
And that was pretty eye-opening because I don't think that's a message that a lot of people know. But that's the grassroots, that's the ASUG and the partnership. So
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming in. It was great to see you again.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
If you see them on the show floor, go talk to them.
We're here.
They're ready for feedback.
Absolutely.
Always.
Thank you very much. We've got an exciting tweet up coming up next about 5 o'clock. So stay tuned here, watching it live on asugnews.com.